For 7 years, no one could match his unstoppable power. 5 world's strongest man titles, every event shattered, a living icon from rural Poland. But Mariusz Pudzianowski's reign would break with a single positive test in 2004. How did the most dominant strongman in history go from scandal and controversy straight into the unknown, risking everything to become a fighter? The answer starts decades before his first fall. Białorussia, a small Polish town surrounded by farmland and frost-hardened roads, shaped the boy who would become the world's strongest man. Mariusz Pudzianowski was born here in 1977, the son of a local weightlifter. His early years were spent far from any spotlight, long before roaring crowds or international cameras arrived. What he did have was a makeshift gym in a cold garage, a father who demanded discipline, and a hunger for something bigger than his surroundings. Before he ever touched a strongman trophy, Mariusz was already building a foundation that set him apart. He trained in Kyokushin karate, earning a green belt by his teens, and mixed martial arts drills with old-school weightlifting. Pudzianowski's workouts were brutal by any standard. Sled drags through mud, sandbag carries up hills, and endless rounds of push-ups until his arms shook. His father's rule was simple: no shortcuts, no complaints. If the bar was not bending, the weight was not heavy enough. These early routines forged more than muscle. They taught him to move with speed, not just power. He sprinted with logs on his shoulders, practiced explosive jumps with sacks of potatoes, and learned to recover quickly between lifts. By the time he was 17, his training partners, mostly grown men, could not keep up. The raw strength was obvious, but it was the speed and aggression honed in those unheated garages and frozen fields that would later give him an edge in strongman arenas across the world. The roots of Pudzianowski's dominance were planted here in sweat, repetition, and the relentless drive to outwork everyone else. What began in the quiet corners of rural Poland was about to explode onto the global stage. Mariusz Pudzianowski's arrival on the strongman circuit was nothing short of a takeover. In 2002, he stormed the world's strongest man finals, outpacing Zydrunas Savickas by 8 points and seizing his first title. The next year, he widened the gap, winning by the largest margin in competition history. Across a span of 7 years, Pudzianowski claimed the world's strongest man crown 5 times. In 2002, 2003, 2005, 2007, and 2008. No one had ever done it before. His name became synonymous with dominance. It was not just the number of wins that set him apart. Pudzianowski turned strongman events into a showcase of speed and power. In Conan's wheel, he spun the massive load with a pace that left rivals breathless. Car walks became sprints. He powered through deadlift holds and climbed the power stairs with an aggression that electrified crowds and unsettled his competitors. His intense stare and emotional outbursts became part of the spectacle. Fans loved the drama, while critics questioned his style and sportsmanship. But at the peak of his run, controversy struck. In 2004, after finishing third at World's Strongest Man, Pudzianowski was disqualified following a positive drug test. The news sent shockwaves through the sport. Headlines questioned the legitimacy of his reign and ignited debate about fairness and ethics in strongman competition. For the first time, his future at the top seemed uncertain. The record books now carried an asterisk, and the world waited to see if the champion could reclaim his place or if the era of Pudzianowski was over. In 2009, sports headlines across Europe and beyond carried a story that seemed unbelievable. Mariusz Pudzianowski, the 5-time world's strongest man, stood behind a row of microphones and announced his next move. He would step into the world of professional mixed martial arts. The reaction was swift and ruthless. Commentators questioned his sanity. Radio hosts joked about the logistics of fitting his frame into a cage. Newspapers ran with headlines like "Strongman to Cage Fighter" and "Pudzianowski's Wild Gamble." Even seasoned mixed martial arts analysts dismissed the idea, insisting that raw strength alone would be a liability, not an asset, in a sport demanding speed, skill, and relentless endurance. Doubts poured in from every direction. Critics pointed out that strongmen train for short, explosive bursts, not for the punishing, drawn-out pace of a fight. His age, 32 at the time, became another target. Most fighters start young, building technique over years. Here was a man who had spent his life perfecting the art of lifting, now vowing to learn how to fight from scratch. Pudzianowski faced the cameras without a trace of irony. He insisted this was not about money or fame. "I want to test myself," he told the press, his voice flat and unyielding. "I've conquered one world. Now I want to see if I can survive in another." The skepticism only seemed to fuel him. As the press conference ended, the questions kept coming. But Pudzianowski had already made up his mind. For the first time in years, he would be a beginner again, with everything to prove. The first day in the MMA gym, Mariusz Pudzianowski faced a reality check no strongman trophy could prepare him for. His new coaches were veterans of Muay Thai, wrestling, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They wasted no time stripping away the habits of his old world. Gone were the days of single explosive lifts. Now every session blended high-intensity interval training with endless movement, bag work, pad drills, takedown chains, and ground scrambles that left him gasping for air. The man who once pulled trucks for sport now struggled to keep up with men half his size, their bodies built for speed and flexibility, not brute force. Each morning began with technical basics, jab-cross combinations, low kicks, and wrestling shots. Coaches drilled him on footwork, forcing his massive frame to pivot, shift, and sprawl. Grappling sessions became lessons in humility. On the mat, blue belts and seasoned amateurs tied him in knots, showing that muscle alone meant nothing when leverage and timing ruled. The old rules, lift heavier, move faster, no longer applied. Conditioning became a daily battle. High-rep circuits replaced heavy deadlifts, mobility work replaced static holds. The goal was survival, not domination. Pudzianowski's mantra became, "In strongman you lift, in mixed martial arts you survive." Each drop of sweat bought a skill he had never needed before, recovering from a punch, slipping a choke, scrambling up from the canvas. His coaches demanded discipline, not just effort. They broke down his movements, rebuilt his stance, and forced him to adapt rep by rep. Every session left him battered, but a little less out of place, inching closer to proving that even legends can be remade. The cage door closed, and the crowd held its breath. Mariusz Pudzianowski's MMA debut came at KSW 12 in Warsaw. His opponent, Marcin Najman, was a local fighter known for toughness, but the result was quick and brutal. Pudzianowski surged forward, drove Najman to the mat, and unleashed a barrage of ground and pound. The referee stopped the fight after just 43 seconds. The doubters had their answer. Raw power could translate to a finish. In the months that followed, Pudzianowski faced bigger names. When he met Butterbean, the American heavyweight known for his knockouts, the spectacle drew international eyes. Mariusz overwhelmed him with relentless pressure, forcing a stoppage in the first round. But it was the victory over Rolls Gracie Jr., a member of MMA royalty, that stunned analysts. Pudzianowski's fists and sheer force toppled a Gracie, and the narrative began to change. He wasn't just a curiosity, he was a threat. Pudzianowski's fighting style became a study in adaptation. After early setbacks, he shifted focus to low kicks, using his powerful legs to chip away at opponents' foundations and slow their movement. In the clinch, he relied on upper body strength, honed from years of carrying stones and yokes, locking down rivals and grinding them against the cage. Conditioning, once a weakness, turned into a daily obsession. His trainers tracked heart rates, cut rest times, and built circuits that mimicked the chaos of a real fight. The results were clear. Pudzianowski kept fighting into his 40s, outlasting younger opponents and pushing the limits of what a heavyweight could do. His presence lifted KSW's profile, drawing record crowds and turning Polish mixed martial arts into a national event. Fans saw more than a strongman. They saw a fighter who refused to fade, reinventing himself for a new era. In a world where most athletes cling to what they know, Pudzianowski defied the limits of identity. His career proves reinvention isn't myth. It's a choice made in full view of doubters. Today, the hardest fight is rarely physical. Sometimes it's the courage to start again. What would you risk?